Hello everyone. In this video, I will be providing another new drug approval updates from the US FDA. In this case, this is the new oral antibiotics which has been approved for the treatment for female patients with uncomplicated urinary tract infections. So this is oral antibiotics belong to this new chemical class called this triazine AC nephthylene motif. So therefore, this is considered a novel chemotype. And so this is when the drug was approved just a few days ago, considered this is a new chemotype antibiotics for the treatment of UTI and for almost 30 years. And so the last new chemotype was approved for this indication is fosfomycin, so which it was approved in 1996. So therefore, this considered for almost for 3 decades new chemotype antibiotics. So now I'm going to dive into this new medication a little bit more in detail. So this gepotidacin, the brand name is BLUJEPA, so was approved by the US FDA on March 25th, 2025, and indicated for the treatment for female, adult, and pediatric patients 12 years and older, weighing at least 40 kilograms, so which is 88 pounds. With uncomplicated urinary tract infections caused by the following susceptible microorganisms. So for example, E. coli, Klebsiella, pneumonia, Citrobacter, freundii complex. So all these belong to gram-negative bacterial pathogens, along with some other gram-positive bacterial pathogens. So for example, Staphylococcus, saprophyticus, and Enterococcus faecalis. So these two, so that they are the gram-positive bacterial pathogens. This medication is available as a tablets, and the strength is 750 milligram tablets. The recommended dosing for this medication is 1,500 milligrams. So that's the 2 tablets, twice daily dosing BID, approximately about 12 hours apart for 2 doses. The duration for treatment for 5 days. So if we look at the drug chemistry, this small molecule contains 3 parts basically on the left side. So that's more like the head group. So have this tricyclic motif. So this one's called triazine AC nephthylene motif. So therefore, it's considered a new chemotype. In the middle, that's kind of the spacer linker region. And then on the right side, that's the tail portion with the heterocyclic ring motif. Molecule weight for this medication is 448.5 grams per mole. Hydrogen bond acceptor is 9. So hydrogen bond acceptor refers to the number of oxygens and nitrogens within the drug molecule. In this case, it's 9. Hydrogen bond donor is 1. So hydrogen bond donor refers to the number of hydroxy, for example, and NH groups. In this case, there's no hydroxy within the drug molecule. The secondary amine, so that's only 1 NH group there. So therefore, the hydrogen bond donor is 1. Log P, so that's the parameter for lipophilicity. In this case, is negative 0.16, considered a hydrophilic drug molecule. Polar surface area is 90 square angstrom in this case. As mentioned from the linker portion, so there's 2 amine functionality. So 1 tertiary amine, that's a piperidine, that's another secondary amine functionality. So therefore, this is the basic drug molecule. Actually, it's available as a salt form. In this case, make the salt with methane sulfonic acid. And also there are 2 hydrates as well. So that's the kind of the dosage forms, the salt form. In addition, if you look at the drug molecules, so there's also carosine there with R stereochemistry. So mechanistically, this molecule works as an inhibitor for bacterial type 2 topoisomerase, more specifically for deingerase and topoisomerase 4. So basically, this molecule inhibits two enzymes, deingerase and topoisomerase 4. Both targets play an important role for DNA replication. So therefore, inhibits this both targets, enzymes, so blocking the DNA replication. And so if you recall, and there is also another very important antibiotics, like fluoroquinolone, so also inhibit these two targets, deingerase and the topoisomerase 4. So given their chemical structure very different, you can see in this case there's no fluorine, and also that don't have that fluoroquinolone motif. So therefore, they have a distinct inhibition mechanism for these enzymes. So therefore, would expect to have a less drug resistance profile. So this, if you look at the pharmacokinetic profile, the Tmax, so that's the time to reach maximal concentration in the blood. So it's about 2 hours. The absolute bioavailability, so it's about 45%. Volume of distribution at the steady state, it's 172.9 liter per rebounding. It's ranging from 25 to 41%. Metabolism, this medication is metabolized by CYP3A4, so it's primarily metabolized by this CYP3A4 enzyme. Half-life, it's about 9.3 hours. Excretion in the urine, 31%, about 20% as a parent drug molecule. In the feces, 52%, but 30% as a parent drug molecule. So given the drug is metabolized by CYP3A4, so therefore we would expect the drug-drug interactions for patients if they also take some other CYP3A4 inhibitors, for example, the azole antifungal agents like itraconazole and ketoconazole, then you would expect the highest exposure for gepotidacin drug molecule, right? In contrast, for patients, if they take some other strong CYP3A4 inducer, so for example, rifampin, so that's the anti-tuberculosis medication, and so that's a strong CYP3A4 inducer. In this case, can induce this enzyme, more enzymes, so therefore this medication, gepotidacin, so will be metabolized faster, quickly. So therefore, you would see lower drug exposure for gepotidacin. So therefore, in both cases, strong CYP3A4 inhibitors or inducers have to avoid concomitant use. Interestingly, for patients, if they take some other certain CYP3A4 substrates, in particular with a narrow therapeutic index, have to avoid the concomitant use as well. So the reason for that, because of this new medication, gepotidacin, so it's a CYP3A4 inhibitor. So therefore, if they take it together, take this medication together with other certain CYP3A4 substrates, so you would see higher drug exposure for certain CYP3A4 substrates. Because this medication is a CYP3A4 inhibitor. So therefore, in all these scenarios, have to avoid the concomitant use based on the prescribing information. Digoxin, for patients, if they take this medication, gepotidacin, with digoxin, digoxin is a cardiac glycoside, it's used for the treatment for heart disorders, right, conditions. And you have to monitor the digoxin serum concentration closely The reason for that, this new medication, gepotidacin, is a P-glycoprotein inhibitor. Then, as you know, this digoxin is P-glyco kind of efflux pump substrates. So therefore, if they take these two medications together, you would see a higher exposure for digoxin, right? So also has a narrower therapeutic index. So therefore, you have to monitor the digoxin serum concentration closely in order to minimize, right, the unwanted adverse effects. Contraindications: a history of severe hypersensitivity to BLUJEPA, so that's contraindication. With regard to adverse effects, the most common adverse effects, in this case more than or equal to 1%, and diarrhea, nausea, that's the GI associated adverse effects, along with abdominal pain, flatulence, soft feces, vomiting. So as you know, for most systemic antibiotics, the GI related adverse effects, that's very, very common, in particular kind of diarrhea, nausea, right? So in addition, there are also some other adverse effects, for example, headache and dizziness, and also vulvovaginal candidiasis. So that's the yeast infections. So given the kind of GI-related side effects, so therefore this medication is recommended to take after a meal. So therefore it can mitigate, can minimize some unwanted the GI related intolerance. So finally, this is the kind of key reference which I used for prepare today's video, the drugs at FDA. So it's always a very valuable resource to provide all the new drug approval updates. In addition, all this medication information, for example, indication or recommended dosing, drug-drug interactions, adverse effects, mechanism of action. So all this information primarily from the prescribing information for these drug products. Yeah, finally, I really would like to thank you for watching. If you think this resource valuable, so please subscribe for future medication video updates. As always, keep learning and elevating. Thank you so much.